Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to this episode of the Daily Packers Post. Don't forget to hit like and to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We've got new episodes every day, Monday through Friday, bringing you in depth coverage of your Green Bay Packers. Today, we're going to take a look at 5 players who the Packers could select in the early rounds of the 2025 NFL Draft. We're going to do this position by position. So today, we're looking at the defensive end / edge rushers. And again, the Packers come into this draft with the 23rd overall pick. So anyone we're going to focus on is going to be someone who there's a realistic possibility they're either available at 23 or Brian Gutekunst would just have to trade up a little bit in order to have a chance to select these players. And first, we're going to look at who the Packers have at the defensive end position. The starters at the end of last season were Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbare. Gary led the team with 7.5 sacks. The 2 players who got a lot of time in the rotation but did not start were Brenton Cox Jr. and former first-round pick Lucas Van Ness. And Jeff Hafley and the Packers defensive coaching staff are hoping that both Cox and Van Ness will take a step forward as they continue to develop from prospects into significant players for the Green Bay Packers. Now, Enagbare is in the final year of his entry-level contract, so unless he's signed to a new deal, he will be an unrestricted free agent next off season. So these 5 players are not presented in any particular order, but they are all players who the Packers may be able to select if they want to go defensive end in the first round. And we're going to start with Donovan Ezeraku from Boston College. And Ezeraku, while he has been extremely productive, he had 16.5 sacks in 12 games for BC last year. He's sort of the opposite of the players the Packers have typically drafted at edge rusher historically under Brian Gutekunst. Historically, Gutekunst takes guys with elite athletic traits who may not have a lot of production. Well, Ezeraku is the opposite. He has a lot of production in college, but not elite athletic traits. He's also only 248 pounds. So at 6'2", 248, he is undersized for a defensive end and probably projects initially, at least, as more of a pass rush specialist because his lack of bulk makes it harder for him to defend against the run. He has a variety of pass rush moves, and most scouts are projecting him to go late in the first or early in the second round. Now, another candidate for the Packers is James Pierce out of Tennessee. He has the elite athletic skills that the Packers really like, that relative athletic score. In the first 3 rounds, let's say, of the draft, the Packers value that extensively. And he has an RAS of 9.4, around a 4.47 40, and had 7.5 sacks for Tennessee last year. He plays the run pretty well, but again, at 6'5", 243, doesn't have the bulk the Packers typically look for in a defensive end. They would need to change their expectations in order to take Pierce. The other issue for Pierce, there are some character concerns, some off-the-field concerns that some teams are going to stay away from him as a result. So he has a first-round talent, but may not be on everybody's draft board. Now, that could mean he could slip to 23 for the Packers, but would they take him considering those concerns? That's another question that needs to be answered. Next up on the list, Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. Here's a guy with an RAS of 10.0. That is as high as it goes. That means basically that out of all the athletes in the NFL at this position, he's in the 100th percentile. He's 6'4", 280 pounds, needs to work on his technique. And this happens a lot of the time to players in college who have elite athletic characteristics. Because they can beat people on physical ability alone, they may not develop the different moves and the specific things that coaches want them to do to win because they don't need to do it in college. So Shamar Stewart is going to need to work on those things to be successful in the NFL. He plays the run well, loves to knock down passes at the line of scrimmage, and he is a guy who never stops hustling. Scouts ironically compare him to Rashawn Gary. So this is the kind of player the Packers typically have targeted under Brian Gutekunst, and we'll see if he's available. They'll probably have to trade up a bit to get him, but depending on how many quarterbacks go early in the draft, he could fall too close to the 23rd spot where the Packers are selecting. Number 4 on our list, and again, they're not in any particular order, but it's Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. He's viewed as a second-round pick. Maybe he'll sneak into the late first round. 6'5", 271 pounds. He's strong. He has good size, and his best asset is his power rush, his bull rush. He has a 9.78 relative athletic score, but hasn't been all that productive in college. 6.5 sacks in each of his last 2 college seasons. And also the fact that he is 6'5" can be used against him, especially against the run, because offensive linemen can get under his pads and control him that way. So he may need a little bit more time to develop as a pass rusher, but the potential is definitely there for Arkansas's Landon Jackson. And then 5th on our list is Mykel Williams out of Georgia. We know the Packers like Georgia players, especially on defense. And he's 6'5", 265. Many consider him to be the top defensive end on the board in this year's draft. He's only 20. So, he is one of the younger players available. Outstanding athleticism, hustles all the time. But again, 5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss last year for Georgia. He has multiple moves that he can utilize, but he doesn't yet seem to know how to put them together to fool offensive linemen or to set them up to take advantage of those different moves. So his lack of productivity in college is a concern, but the tools are there for him to develop into an elite defensive end in the NFL. Don't forget to check out our website at thepackerspost.com and hit the like button and subscribe as we have new videos dropping every day, Monday through Friday. I'm Gil Martin. Thanks for watching this episode of the Daily Packers Post. Have a great day, everybody, and go Pack Go.